So, you like dudes, tell me, which part of me do you find the hottest? Welcome back, everybody, to the Dead Film Critics
Yes.
Society. I don't know if
That was the
Aiden's going to
quote, by the
answer
way,
that. I
ladies and
know that
gentlemen.
was just to clarify, that was a quote from Love Simon. I just think that would be funny
Yes.
to tell Aiden
Yeah,
that
I
he
did
likes
forget about that
dudes.
quote, actually.
Yeah,
Ah, you good one.
yeah, I got
Yes.
him.
Uh, yeah, got him. All right.
Anyways, if
uh,
that's a hint to what we're going to be talking about, well, I mean, it is.
I don't know if it's a
But
hint. I think it's just an outright saying what we're going to be talking about. So,
gay people?
yeah.
Is it just again, I don't know,
Well,
just
no,
in
I
general,
thought you were
just
talking
like
about love. Well, you said Love Simon, right?
I
So,
did
yeah,
mention Love Simon. I did say that, so I
yes.
guess you now know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should probably should know when you clicked on this video. Anyways,
Yeah.
first we're gonna go to a hypothetical. Well, not really a
Yes.
hypothetical, but may potentially sort of. I found a old top 10 list of mine that I wrote when I think I was in grade 8 or so. It was my
Yeah.
top 10 movies. I'll read them out to you, and then I want to ask you what you think. I'm assuming you probably didn't keep a list when you were in grade 8 of your top 10 movies, but I'm just
No.
curious as what do you think they would be. But here's mine. At 10, I have Star Wars: The Emperor Strikes Back.
Ooh.
Number 9 is Pokemon: Lucario and the Mystery of Mewtwo. Because I was really into Pokemon. That was like the one movie I'd
Oh
watched up to
my
that point.
God.
Kung Fu Panda 2 at
Nerd.
number 8.
That's not bad,
Um,
actually. I'll
Number
take that.
7, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Number 6,
Sorry.
Diary of a
Sorry.
Wimpy Kid. Um,
Okay, that's not. I can get behind that.
Number
It's very iconic.
5, Ant-Man. Number 4, Despicable Me 2. Number 3, Avengers: Age of Ultron. Number 2, Star Wars: The Return of the Jedi. And number 1, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So you can see I have 4 Star Wars up there.
You didn't even have a New Hope on there.
No, I did not.
Okay, I think it's clear what needs to be happen, ladies. Needs to happen, ladies and gentlemen. You need to be banned from reviewing movies for the rest of your life. No, I'm just
Rather
joking.
bad.
That's okay, dude. Look, I like Transformers when I was in grade 8, so I can't really talk, so it's fine. It
Yeah.
happens. But yeah, like if I was in grade 8, honestly, I'd probably say Transformers 3 would probably be number 7 at that time. So, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But I don't know if I could come to you with the entire list. I do remember like one of my favorite movies back then was like the first Avengers movie, because like
Yeah.
I remember vividly, I got to see that on opening
Yeah.
day and it was just amazing. So,
I don't think I even got to see
yeah.
Ultron in a theater. I don't even remember seeing it in a theater, but I guess it just managed to
Yeah.
make its way to number 3 and because I definitely didn't see the original Avengers in theaters. I know that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
yeah, Despicable Me too. Pretty sure I saw it in theaters, which is probably one of the reasons it's at number 4. But that was probably
Huh.
the most whack. I had
Well, there
the
you
Lucario and the Mystery Mew on like a DVD. I'd seen all the Star Wars movies from various sources. I don't think I saw Ant-Man in a theater either. I think I saw Kung Fu Panda 2 in a theater. I definitely saw Force Awakens in a theater as well. And then the
Yeah.
other ones, yeah, I don't know, just other places. I'm thinking I might have even watched all the original Star Wars on VHS, potentially.
Really?
Yeah, because like my
Well,
parents
that's
had
you know
still
what?
we
You
still
get
have
the
our
you get the seal of
VHS,
approval there,
and like
though.
back then we
Yeah.
still I don't I'm pretty sure we had a DVD machine, but we didn't go out and buy new ones, but we had
Yeah,
that.
fair
So,
enough. But
um,
no, yeah, VHS watching Star Wars, that's old school. I like that.
yeah,
Nice. Good on
um,
you, mate.
yeah. So I think we're ready to move on to news. Aiden,
All right,
really, you have a
news.
bit for us?
Yes, sorry, I need to pull up the list because this is huge. The 2022 Hollywood Walk of Fame has been announced. All right, and on the list is Carrie Fisher, Ewan McGregor, Willem Dafoe, Michael B. Jordan, Salma Hayek, Tessa Thompson, Macaulay Culkin, Regina King, Bob Odenkirk, Ray Liotta, Jason Momoa, Ming Na Wen. I think that's how you say her name. I don't know if I said it right. Just so don't hate me for that. Francis Ford Coppola, Norman Reedus, Keenan Thompson, Tracy Ellis Ross, and Ricky Gervais. That's not a bad list,
It's not a
actually.
bad list at all, but what is
I'm surprised by
surprising
Tracy Ellis
is
Ross,
the
though.
difference in like age. You got younger people like Tessa
Yeah.
Thompson and Michael B. Jordan, and then you got like Francis Ford Coppola and
How has he never gotten a star in
like
the Hollywood Walk of
yeah,
Fame,
that's
though?
kind of
Like,
whack.
yeah.
Like,
How's it taking this long? That's
guy's
just weird.
insane. Like, he made his best movies in the '70s, and now he's just getting sort of recognized for them by a different Like one association's finally recognizing that. I don't know. Feels kind of weird.
Yeah,
Then you
it's a
got
bit weird. Yeah,
yeah, Bob Odenkirk. I like that. Yeah, it's fun.
definitely deserved.
For
Yeah, a lot
sure.
of people don't know he was actually a writer on Saturday Night Live in the '80s with Conan O'Brien and
Hmm.
other people like that. So yeah,
Interesting.
he's definitely has a long and illustrious career of doing great things, and he's just now gone to really good drama stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, Kenan Thompson is also a little interesting, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's been on
yeah,
SNL for like forever,
yeah. He's
as far
their
as I
longest
know.
cast member.
Okay,
So yeah, and
so
he
that
also
makes
was in
sense.
that immaculate, victorious, and fucking iCarly crossover episode as well. Can't forget that. So
Hmm.
yeah,
All right.
I don't know if you watched that one,
I
but
definitely
I
never
definitely
watched
remember
that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. So I got
yeah.
this is not part of news, but I got this Totoro. It's pretty fun.
Oh,
He looks better
it's
on
cute.
he looks better on camera, honestly, which is better. It's like close up, his eyes are definitely glued on. And he's also fatter than I expected him to be. He's a big boy,
Yeah.
thick, but
Ooh.
he's got
So
the.
we're body shaming toys now. Damn, it'd be like that
No,
sometimes.
I never said him being thicker is a bad thing. I was just expecting him to be
Oh,
taller.
okay. Yeah. Fair enough. We all like a thick boy.
My expectations were subverted by whoever's made this.
Fair
Anyways,
enough. Fair enough.
I'm gonna move
Yes.
on to my news.
Okay.
Dune has
Yeah,
been it's
I have one
official
piece of news we can
official.
talk about later,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah.
It's official. Yeah, after
Yeah.
this one, I guess. It's official
Yeah, of
official
course.
that Dune. This has been speculated for a while. It was somewhat confirmed before, but now apparently it's 100% that Dune will world premiere at the Venice Film Festival, which I also hope means it will also go to TIFF, because usually a good amount
Hope
of
so
stuff that
too.
goes to Venice goes to TIFF, especially if it's Denis Villeneuve like Arrival did.
Well, yeah, he's Canadian, boy. You might as well put his stuff there. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. And yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited for it. It's good to know.
I'm excited for that
That means
too.
it has a chance to win the illustrious prize, the Golden Lion, or the Silver Lion. The
Yeah.
Silver Lion's for best direction. Uh, Golden Lion's for just best film overall. Has a chance at either of
Nice.
those. Be interesting to see if it wins one of those.
Honestly, yeah, it would be
Um,
so cool to go to one of those film festivals one day. I gotta do that before I die. Honestly,
yeah,
that'd be sick.
I
Yeah.
hope so. I'm trying to do it before I
Yeah.
leave. I'm trying to do it before I
Yeah.
leave for
Fair
Vancouver,
enough.
or at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you have as your other piece of news?
Well, all right. So the cast of John Wick 4 has been updated yet again, and
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know who this actor is. His name is
Not really.
Hiroki Sanada. He's
Yeah.
a Japanese actor. He's been in a lot of films, and I don't know. I remember him mostly 2013, and then I think he was in Mortal Kombat this year as well. So for anyone else who didn't know that, but here I'll just flash a quick picture of him on the screen. I don't know. It's this dude right here. Can you see that?
Yep. I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. So he's been to the cast of John Wick 4. I mean, like, I don't know. Are you familiar with this guy's work a little
Not
bit at all?
really.
Have you seen other
No,
stuff?
I just
Yeah.
pretty much heard of him just now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
John
No.
Wick
Yeah.
4
Yeah, I
keeps
think
getting
he's
people
definitely
added
good.
to it who are clearly
Oh yeah.
going to be pretty ferocious martial arts wise, trying to add up to that excitement
God,
for
yeah.
the fight scenes. Maybe
I
more
still can't
hand to
believe there's
hand
4 of these
combat.
films now.
Perhaps
Yeah.
potentially more hand to hand combat than the other John Wick movies, because those are often relied on the headshots a little more than choreography
Yeah.
sometimes. But of course, they're still great action movies.
Fair
So
enough.
there was a story that came out about how James Cameron attempted to buy the rights to Jurassic Park, but then Spielberg beat him
Oh.
by like only a few hours. Apparently,
Thank
he
God.
described his version of as aliens with dinosaurs.
What the hell?
Like the film Aliens. But
Oh,
with
sorry.
Dinosaurs.
Sorry, dude. My headphones disconnected
Oh.
there. That was weird.
Okay.
Hold on. Sorry, my mistake 5 there. I don't know why they would disconnect. It just said they were at 100%. What the fuck is wrong with these things? Yes, 79 and 83 for fuck's sake. Like, come on. Why did it disconnect? Wait, say something?
Hello?
Okay, now I can hear you. It's only in one, but that's the best I'm gonna get. Anyway, sorry. Continue. I didn't mean to. You were saying it was like aliens?
Yeah, so he was saying that he would want to make the way he would make Jurassic Park was how he made Aliens, just with dinosaurs instead of the aliens. So more of an action.
I mean, that could have been
oriented type of thing.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been
Um,
interesting, but I don't know. I just think the sense of wonder is what made Jurassic such an iconic movie. You
Yeah.
know, just seeing
And then
those dinosaurs
this-
computer generated.
Yeah, this Reddit thread brought up the idea of like what movies would be completely different with the new director. who was involved in the project originally. So Sergio Leone apparently was originally asked to make The Godfather. He was apparently one of the first people they
Really?
approached, or maybe the first.
Shit. That would have been
Um,
interesting.
yeah.
Fucking hell.
Also, apparently, Francis Ford Coppola wanted Martin Scorsese, to direct the second Godfather as well. I don't know. Apparently, all these are just about the Godfather.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it would have been pretty interesting to see. I think that's pre-Taxi Driver as well, so it would have been very interesting to see how we'd cover. Like, obviously, he
Yeah.
can make a mafia movie. We know this. He made Goodfellas. He's
Yeah.
made a bunch of others like it. Danny Boyle apparently maybe would have made a James Bond film. Steven
That
Spielberg
could have
was
been alright.
apparently involved in a Doom project at one point.
Doom. Oh.
Christopher Nolan was
You know what?
apparently
That could have been interesting.
yeah, Christopher Nolan was apparently
Yeah.
involved with The Aviator, and he was attached with Jim Carrey apparently, and apparently Nolan said at one point it was like the best script he'd ever read for that.
Yeah.
David Fincher's Spider-Man apparently was maybe somewhat of a thing at one point. That would have been kind of interesting.
Did you hear about Darren Aronofsky's, was it Superman or something like that? I think there was something along those lines, but I know he won. No, I think it was Darren Aronofsky's Batman. That was what it was. He was
Yeah.
originally supposed to do the Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah. Yeah. Or
Darren
at least get
Aronofsky's
it going.
Wolverine apparently it was a thing at one point.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen's Queen Freddie Mercury movie, and I think David Fincher was even involved in that at some point. George Miller's Justice League, I would have probably rather see that instead of
That would have been cool
Snyder,
actually, because
to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. I mean, it probably would have led to more revealing outfits because that's kind of his style. But you know, it would have definitely could have been interesting. Probably more violent as well. Which yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I do
A
like
little bit,
super
maybe.
movies that take risks.
Del Toro's
Yeah.
Hobbit, or Peter Jackson's Hobbit if he'd been given the time and leeway that he had with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So all these are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love to look at what ifs because it just makes you kind of sad for what could have been for some of these things. But overall, it sounds fine. And my last what if sort of is apparently the Lego Batman sequel has been scrapped because Lego's now with Universal, and so they obviously can't take the Warner Brothers property and make it into a Batman movie. But it was going to be written by Dan Harmon and Michael Waldron, I believe, who's show running Loki right now. That would have been
So
great.
wait, what are they going to do for the Lego Movie sequel? They can't have Batman anymore.
Well, they've already done a Lego movie too.
Well, sorry, not Lego
Like,
Movie
you
sequel.
mean
I
like a
Lego
second?
Movie 3.
It's just
That's
not
what I
going to
meant,
happen, I guess, because
Ugh.
unless at some point Lego goes back to Warner Brothers.
Why do they always fucking ruin a good thing, man? For real, they had something going there. They just had to get greedy. Unbelievable.
Like Dan Harmon, I would have really liked to see a Lego movie with Dan Harmon and like Michael Waldron.
Isn't he the guy who? What did he do?
Michael
What did Dan
Waldron. I'm
Harmon
pretty
do
sure
again?
he was show running Loki.
Oh wait, no, I was talking about Dan Harmon. Wait, he did Community, didn't he?
He did Community and he's doing Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, see, that
between
could
those
have been
two.
good actually. No, I would have been fine with that, but now it's scrapped. So
He
whatever.
apparently
Guess we'll
turned
never see
down
it.
a Rick and Morty job for Loki.
Mm.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And he's also helping write Doctor Strange, I believe. Oh, he's also helping produce that as well. I think he's working on that.
Alright.
Honestly, I'm a little bit bored with the Loki series right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind
I
of
don't
bored.
know. I think it's okay. It's not one of my favorites, but you know, I like it a little bit more than Falcon and Soldier at this point.
I think that's still the better one, honestly, out of all of them, because it's more consistent than literally. Like, I guess this Loki's so far consistent, but I find it more boring than Falcon right now because it just feels like more. It feels like it's being accomplished in Winter Soldier, and it has. I don't know. I feel like Zemo is working better as like a villain who's kind of being a good guy at one point than Loki is so far. And
Okay, but like that twist where we found out about that, you know, the
see, I
variant
literally
of Loki
called it was a
girl.
female. Like, I didn't even know about it. I called it was a female just before it was revealed, and I was right. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like,
Okay, but it's still cool though,
Yeah.
man. Like for real, we're getting into uncharted territory here.
I mean, it just feels like a derivative of like the idea from Rick and Morty. It's just like infinite variants of like Ricks in the universe, and now there's just a bunch of Lokis. And knowing Michael Waldron's somewhat involvement in Rick and Morty, it feels like he's almost just trying to disguise it intentionally. I don't know. It's
Okay.
like I'm just not excited by it very much. I've watched
Okay,
it.
well,
It's
that's
like
fair. I mean,
it's entertaining enough
yeah.
for me to watch through still, but like honestly, I was pretty tired at the time, but the show definitely didn't help how tired it was. But
Yeah.
and also Owen Wilson, and it's like he's the way I don't think he's being used properly. I think he really needs a
I just wanted
specific.
to say wow at
Most
least.
Wes Anderson, like he's better in like Wes Anderson movies for sure. He's also
Yeah.
even better, I'd say, in like Wonder than he is in something like this or Midnight in Paris. But
Oh yeah,
we're
Wonder
getting
was a
off
nice
track.
movie.
We're getting off
Yeah, I
track.
do have one more piece of news. If just before we like
Yeah,
get it,
I'm done with
I
news,
want
so
to
you
quickly
can
talk
go
about
ahead
it.
and
It's
finish that.
All right, cool. All right, so basically, I just wanted to say there's apparently there is a potential for a Dominic Toretto spin-off movie in the Fast and Furious universe. I saw that like yesterday, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I
I
personally,
mean, they're
and
just gonna keep milking the
I
cash
I'm
cow.
so annoyed with the franchise these
Milk.
days. It's
They're
just
just gonna.
it just feels like one big cash grab. Like the quality's been going down since Furious 7, man. It's just annoying.
Yeah,
So,
they're just gonna keep
yeah.
milking it. Whatever.
They have bastardized the
You,
thing I loved,
I
and
mean,
now it's
clearly
fucking
people are still gonna watch them if they're gonna make more. So I don't know. Simon.
yeah, it's fine.
It's a
Yeah.
2018 film directed by Greg Berlanti, starring oh my
Nick
goodness,
Robinson.
Nick Robinson. I had
Yeah.
Nick on the top of my head, but then Nick Robinson, Jennifer Gardner.
Josh Duhamel.
I don't remember the other people. I'm not gonna lie.
That's okay.
Um, yeah.
Oh, and Catherine Langford from fucking 13 Reasons Why is in there
Oh
as
yeah.
well.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yes.
so I don't know. This was your recommendation, Aiden.
Yes.
Why was it recommended?
I will tell you why. Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I recommended this, man. Obviously, it's a great film, and also it's Pride Month, so show you support. That is all. And no, I mean, I remember the first time I watched this film, I was like on a plane. I was on a plane trip, and it was like the only good movie I saw. Like, so I clicked on it, and dude, I don't know, like, that's the first time I've ever like felt like in my feels on a plane. I gotta tell you, it was a really sweet movie.
Okay.
It's just it's a nice portrayal of a gay relationship in high school. It doesn't like go too over the top with its portrayal. There's like no stereotypical gay characters in there, which is nice. I like that. They
Yeah.
kind of just treat them like everyday people because that's exactly what we are. So I mean, I
Is
don't know. I think it does. Huh?
I obviously don't. Is Ethan like? Do you think Ethan? You remember the Ethan character? Does he stare?
Yeah,
Like, I feel like he's a little bit.
I don't think he's that stereotypical. I mean, like, look, I
Little
think there's a
bit,
difference
not a
between being
ton.
there's a difference
Yeah.
between being a little bit camp and being a little bit stereotypical. But I think the difference is though. I mean, like, I think he might actually be gay in real life. So I mean, like, you can't. Maybe he was just acting like himself, and there's
True.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it's true. It's just
Yeah,
that.
but my point of issue is with like when I say stereotypical like gay portrayals, I mean like James Corden in The Prom, like a straight actor
Yeah.
doing something like that. I'm not okay with that. That's stupid as hell.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. So
I mean,
like
yeah, no,
like
it
I
was
said, I've got lots of done
yeah,
notes.
yeah.
Watching the
Well,
second
look, yeah,
movie
go on to them,
the
man.
second time from like seeing from Leia's or like the Catherine Langford's point of view was a little
Mm-hmm.
was interesting to try to look from her perspective a little bit. So like, cause the way that Simon acts, you can clearly see why. Like in some instances, you can kind of see why she kind of thinks that he might, would want to be with her at some point. You can see
Mm-hmm.
like just based on actions, maybe not based on like how he says or does things, but like him holding her hand makes sense. Like I feel like something makes sense because I don't know. Do you find it normal to like hold the hand of like your friend who is a female?
I've done that
That's
before.
a,
Doesn't
I
matter,
mean,
But at the
okay.
same time, I mean,
So
like
I haven't.
I get why
I
I get why
couldn't
she'd be
imagine
mad
myself
because
ever being in that position as a.
yeah.
I just couldn't.
No,
It was,
I get that though. I mean, like, but yeah, I get why she was mad because obviously she didn't know, right? And then like he
yeah.
kind of, and she felt like he had like accidentally led her on, which I guess is fine, and she was mad that he didn't tell her because they're best friends, they tell each other everything. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's tricky when you're in that position, right? Because You
Yeah,
really don't know
I
how anyone's going to react. You don't want to lose anybody you
right.
care about, right?
Right, but
So I
then
get why
like
he would
and
keep it a
then
secret.
yeah, my issue is that I feel like he would go to her first though. It feels like it
Yeah,
feel in the context of the story it would feel more natural, especially since Simon clearly doesn't
yeah.
think that she would be hurt by it. He thinks that
Mhm.
she's likes Nick, right? So she like I don't know why. It just feels convenient that the story was written that way so the conflict would come up closer towards the climax like him coming out wouldn't be the initial conflict or like the first time coming out to like one of his friends because if he came out to her it would have caused a different conflict which I frankly think would have been a more realistic one to explore potentially because the whole thing with Martin is just dumb. I really don't like I like it's okay but just really dumb. It's at a good amount of points.
Yeah.
It's kind of cheesy. It's a really annoying character. I mean he's supposed to be most of the time but like I don't know. It used the same song from like Booksmart, which I kind of found interesting. Just happened to be
Which song was that again?
trying to remember what I don't even remember what it was or like the tune really, but I sort of remember the tune. But there's a bunch of like weird random things that people say that I don't think anyone I've ever heard say or like feel like would people would say. It's like the quote "I am I in an Apatow mood." It's like I do like teenagers really know what who Apatow is really? Like I didn't
Well, I
know
mean, we do.
we do because we're movie people, but no one's really like a movie person. But I feel there's a lot of movie references in this movie for not having characters who are like movie people. Really, the only thing that they mention about movies is how they all like to watch like dumb '90s movies, which feels like just a random trope they came up with in the right. Like because obviously there was a good amount of care put into this project, but also it does feel in a lot of ways manufactured. You know,
Yeah.
I would say that's one of them.
Okay.
There's like from technical perspective, there's some cool camera movements. Like it does some more interesting shots, more longer shots than I think a movie like this would most often do. But the lighting and the way it's shot is pretty standard. I don't think it's like there's like one
Well, yeah. I mean,
shot
like,
that's like
yeah.
yeah. I just think like I don't think it being this type of movie like excuses it from not trying to be creative. I think it easily could be. It just rarely
Yeah.
does movies like these do. There's
Yeah. I
like
mean, I get that. It's just I kind of feel like the focus isn't. It's not supposed to be on that sort of stuff. It's more supposed to be on like Nick Robinson's character of Simon, just his journey to like I don't know coming out. I guess
yeah, but like
I think that's why
having
they decided to have more standard. It's not necessary
it like
to be honest.
I mean, I think just having it like I feel like that's reducing it a little bit because if you want to make like that's why I respect movies like Moonlight so much because they're clearly trying to push the creative prowess of filmmaking while
Yeah.
just having to telling a story of you know a gay person. This feels like more like it's just trying to tell the story of a gay person rather than pushing filmmaking first, right? I feel like filmmaking's and like maybe even storytelling in general is kind of far behind from like the only goal of this movie in a lot of ways just like not to like knock this movie as a whole because it's still good but it
Yeah.
feels a lot more like it was trying to make a standard solid good like gay teen rom-com, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like you know they could do better in like in some terms of the way they write stuff and film and how they film it. um like I don't know, it just like some they mentioned musicals randomly a couple of times, which felt like
Yeah.
they were. It's like feels like stereotypes of like what gays associate and like pop up a few random times with like around Simon before he's really like before he's clearly to all his friends like gay,
Yeah, no, but
which
I
feels a
don't know
little
if it's
random.
like the worst thing in the world. I
I
mean,
don't
like,
think
you know,
it's
'cause
random.
it's
It
not like you
just
can't.
it
Yeah, but you can't like ignore those stereotypes. I think it's fine that they address them, right? You know, there's nothing wrong.
I don't know if they really
I
address them. They
personally don't
just
have an issue with
randomly
that.
get brought up, just like oh he's obsessed with Les Mis. It's like, I guess. I don't know. It's just like I've never I just don't feel that's like how people talk about people, right? Primarily,
Well,
that's like in my experience. I know
it's
it's
a
not.
teen comedy. I wasn't expecting like Oscar worthy stuff here. I just wanted a nice story, and I got that. You know,
Yeah,
so
like that's fine.
yeah,
I just like you know you can obviously make a movie like this better. I've seen you know movies like this done.
Yeah, I mean, Moonlight
better
is
for
going to
sure.
be on my it's going to be on my list for Pride Month, so I'm going to take a look at that, and I guess
Yeah,
then I'll have a
and
comparison
there's
of that with
like
this film, right? So
there's a couple of other moments. It's like, when they call Drake a rap god, it's like it does feel like a lot of the times it's adults trying to sound like teenagers through these characters.
yeah,
And
that's kind of the theme of
sometimes,
the 2010s, though.
yeah.
Honestly, with a lot
Also,
of these teen
the
movies,
way
but
Simon talks in this movie sometimes, and just like the way he stumbles over like saying things, it's like I don't know. It just feels very clear from our. Obviously, we know as the audience, but I feel like even if I was in their position, the way he talks in some of those conversations, it's like, oh yeah, he's clearly trying as hard as possible not to appear clearly as straight, but he's also not trying to clearly appear as gay because he doesn't want to come out yet, right? Which kind of like
yeah, no,
you
fair
know
enough.
brings up
I mean,
that
but
kind of
maybe it
idea
was.
that
I think maybe it could have been done like awkwardly on purpose. You know, there's nothing wrong
yeah.
with that. That's
Yeah,
why they
I
wrote that
know
stuff
that it was
in.
done on purpose, but it's just like
I know it sounds
it's
a
not
little
a
funny,
knock.
but
It's not.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not a knock. It's just something I noticed. Like,
yeah.
and again,
Oh,
I think
cool.
there's a good like Martin has like a Borat poster in his like room, which is just kind of random. I don't know if it's like I don't know, just is. There's a couple of there's a couple of details I didn't notice the first time. Like when the editor's names comes up, he does it like he has a car go over it, so like it's a wipe. It's like he put more editing into the like title of like when he says editing by kind of part, which was
Yeah.
sort of interesting. The detail where Leia says that like she loves Nick in Simon's imagination for how he imagines like what if straight people had to come out to their parents kind of thing helps understand like when Simon says later on in the
Yeah.
movie like he assumed that Leia liked Nick even though that didn't come up before, so that was kind of like important
I
because
mean,
otherwise
I
it
did
feels
kind
kind
of
of
like
random
that
if you don't
actually.
notice that.
I like his imagination sequences. I think those are pretty cool, especially like the one you just. It's kind of a funny thing to think about. Actually, it raises a good point. What if
Yeah,
you actually had to do that? Yeah.
I mean,
Like, what if you
yeah.
just woke up one day and you just had to tell your parents you were straight, and then they were like kicked you out of the house? That'd be kind of funny. Well, not obviously not funny, right? But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It's just a
yeah,
very
yeah.
it's a strange thing to think about.
It is.
You
I
know,
mean,
so I'm glad that, like, I think that's kind of one of the more creative things this film did. Obviously, like it didn't do as much creative stuff that with
yeah.
like camera movement, but I think it makes up with it in some regard with stuff like
Actually, I
that,
think
which
the
is kind
camera
of nice,
movement's
you
the
know?
more creative part. It's like how they shoot in light things
Really?
most of the time is that's less creative. 'Cause I think some of the camera movements
I don't
actually
know.
a little more interesting than your average, but it's more how they shoot it
Okay,
and the
I mean, like
lighting.
I guess so, but I don't know. It didn't really stand out,
It
you
definitely
know.
didn't
I mean,
stand out, but I noticed it a little bit.
yeah.
And
Okay.
again, the conflict I feel, especially with Martin's whole time like thing, is really dumb. Um,
Mm.
and like I don't like how they're like, oh, who's the mystery blue person? It's like, and they have that one like
I mean,
their
like,
excuse like it
yeah.
feels like a pretty random excuse to like to show the character that we clearly feel is like because I feel like the first time I don't remember how much I knew about the plot the first time I watched it, but it felt pretty obvious the whole time that it was going to be
Brahms.
Brahms. Like
Yeah,
even
no,
when they try
I
to
figured
throw
it out
them
like
off
as
with
soon as
the part where
yeah.
he's making out with the girl kind of part.
Yeah,
And it's
like
like
as
also
soon
could
as I
he
saw the Oreo
yeah.
though, I knew that it was him. Like it's just like it seemed like it was him because he was barely in the like, and it
Yeah.
just I kind of got that vibe from him,
Yeah,
right?
and like I and
Seemed like that's
none
what.
of the other characters are really putting out those vibes at all, but for some reason Simon just imagines them. I guess that sometimes happens like an objective viewer can see they're clearly not like doing anything, but then like Simon projects the idea onto them just because of a couple things that he connects in his brain, like how he thinks that Lyle, the Waffle House worker, might have stepped outside in that moment and texted and emailed him, which is again a
Yeah.
little bit like this is 2018. It's a little email doesn't feel like the primary thing that would happen, but sure, I guess it happens.
Yeah, no. I know.
It's not
I
like
don't even. But it's based off a book, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know
that's
what I don't
true,
know.
but they could have changed it.
So
That's what
they could have changed it,
adaptations
I
are.
guess. Yeah.
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 And I feel like also this like I feel like this movie and also the show like Love Victor, they often don't play with the idea potentially of like a character being bisexual ever. It feels like to me.
Yeah.
It's like couldn't it like
More absolutes, I
yeah,
guess.
it's like when Bram's making out with the girl. Isn't there a chance like he's bisexual? He just hasn't come out like as like he also likes men part potentially
Yeah.
it's like that like kills it a lot. Like
Maybe that's it.
feels
But
like
then
in the
again,
plot that in
but if
Nick's
he
mind
was
it completely kills it. Even though I feel like
yeah, but if he
he'd
was
be more open to the
bi,
idea.
then and he actually and he still did like Nick, then like wouldn't it hurt more that he still like went after this girl then? I mean, because if he was gay and just doing it to keep up appearances, then it
Right.
really wouldn't mean anything to him, right? So I think maybe that's why they went in that direction, you
That
know.
could
So.
that could be true. Um,
Yeah. But I do get what you mean, though. I mean, like,
yeah.
what they say, only Sith deal in absolutes, and it's
Yeah.
definitely not the best thing because there is that middle line. I mean, like, I'm notorious for that. I can't choose. I can't choose.
Yeah.
Both seem appealing to me. So, I mean, like,
Yeah,
why
it's
not
like that.
give
That kind of
people like me?
conflict's never come up yet in
Yeah.
one of
I
like
know. I mean, like,
both
and
in the
it's
like the Love
you can
Simon and the
really,
Love Victor universe,
yeah.
and I don't think there's and that's almost all that like the type of movies that have covered this kind of subject matter, and they still haven't brought up that because like I was kind of
No, that's a
expecting
good
when I
point.
was watching Love Victor the first time because he was ended up dating a girl, and it felt like the way he was like carrying and like describe like feel like the way like try to communicate Victor's feelings by his text with Simon because he learns about Simon through like school stuff or whatever, and they like try to communicate his feelings there. It's like he feels like the way they word certain stuff. It's like he has an attraction, like a sexual attraction to Mia, not just like one where he's like a friend because he ends up dating her, but then of course then like so I thought he was going to be bisexual but then he like also like kind of falls for this other guy. So I thought the conflict was going to be like he has to kind of choose, but instead it's because he's gay, so now he needs to figure out how to communicate that to Mia and then be able to try to
Yeah.
deal with the other guy. It's like I think the bisexual element in that would have been probably more interesting and felt like it would have.
No,
It felt like they
I
were
honestly
like
totally
it
agree
felt
with
like they were
that.
teasing that to me, and then I was like, okay, it's just the same as
Yeah.
Love Simon in a lot of ways. Just the only thing they really changed about Love Victor is that the parents' family is more conservative and would be less. It looks like they'd be less willing to accept him as being gay, because obviously,
Yeah.
and like obviously, I think this movie does a good job. But like I think what this movie like does universally is just the idea of being able to like reveal something you don't really want to tell to other people because obviously just like even if it's a somewhat an irrational fear because obviously we see in the movie that Simon has technically not a lot of reason to believe that his parents wouldn't accept him for who he is being so liberal and appearing so accepting of a lot of things. But obviously, you got to understand it's like
It's still a
coming
big
out.
thing to talk
Yeah,
about because
exactly.
you
It's a
really
big
never
thing,
know how to
right?
react, how they're gonna react. Yeah,
It's
it
like
makes sense.
how I know
I
if
like
I
their
like
portrayal as well.
yeah, it's like I think if I knew I like had done something like bad or something like something about myself, I know what my parents accept. It would still be tough to talk to them about a part of me
Yeah.
that they weren't like expecting or something that I did that they weren't expecting, right? So I think that's something the movie does well. It's like it's not irrational. It makes a lot of sense why Simon doesn't want to wait all this time
Yeah,
to
and
come
even the
out.
parents'
And
reaction, I think, is done
also
really well. Because
why
I mean,
he's
like,
so mad at Martin.
because like they're not outright supportive immediately. They're just a
Yeah.
little shocked because they don't know how to process it. But then eventually they come to terms with it, and it is. I think that's a more realistic portrayal because most of the time, it's not one extreme or the other. Often it can be in the middle because it's big news to
Yeah.
tell your family, right? Especially if it comes out left field and they had no idea, right?
Mhm.
So it was a good portrayal. I did quite like it, to be honest. But I mean,
Yeah.
going back to your earlier point about like the bisexual element that could have been explored more. I think it's kind of evident like in the community these days that there's a lot of people who like don't think that this is actually like a real thing. It's people just think it's like we're experimenting, which I think is really fucked up, and like because it's like it's homophobia coming from within. It's really not a good thing at all. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I just think not exploring that enough. I don't know. It's kind of continuing that a little bit. It would have been nice if they could have done it. Obviously, I'm not expecting everyone to be. That's not fair, right? But
Yeah.
it could have been. It would be nice if more like
Yeah,
shows
I
and
hope a
movies explored that a
character
little bit
like
more.
that comes up soon in something that feels
Yeah.
comparable to Love Simon. Maybe not.
I mean,
from
like
the
Brooklyn
universe
Nine-Nine
itself.
did a really good job when Rosa Diaz came out.
Yeah,
I think that
like
was
they
actually
did.
one of the
Yeah,
better
that was
portrayals.
that was a good working of a character there.
Yeah.
Like and the way like her family dynamics, even though she's a pretty minor, like sometimes can be a more minor character than a lot of the other people, it still works as a memorable like storyline, right? Even though it's like
Yeah.
not even the main one. So when it's the main one, I feel like it could work pretty well. So I hope to see something like that eventually. Um,
Yeah.
what I like when Martin finds out, I feel like is a kind of a dumb moment that they didn't fully think out because he doesn't see Simon at the computer, right? So then he goes to the computer, he sees these messages, but Simon made a new email, right? So that that Blue doesn't know who he is. So how does he know that it's Simon? He just knows it's some random email, right?
I know, but
So,
like, didn't you see him leaving the computer if I'm not mistaken?
no, he was looking at the he never like turns back or acknowledges Simon. He's always looking at he's always talking to the when they're shown together in the shot. Simon's walking away and Martin's still looking at talking to librarian. He never there's nothing to show that he notices them. Even if there's they're trying to say he did before. That's not communicated at all. So I just again,
I definitely
a little
agree
bit
there.
of a
That's
weakness
fair.
there. And again, I think Martin, when he gets that whole thing, how he starts to charm Abby feels kind of whack with that Waffle House bit, does it not? I just it feels like such an awkward thing to all of a sudden because he does that. That feels like another reason Abby should think he's more weird and unlikable and she doesn't want to hang out with. But all of a sudden, because of that moment, she starts to be more friendly to him. It just I don't know doesn't make sense to me. Which it just only helps out to the conflict and feels kind of artificial. I do wish that when Martin gets rejected that he did something more than just dropping the mic. I wish he threw the mic, or that he would have been really funny. I envisioned he grabs one of the football players' helmets and just yeets it. That would have been a pretty fun a visual something again. I feel like there's more opportunities to do something a little more creative, and I feel like this movie missed a good amount. Yeah. I like all those daydream sequences that you mentioned before. I think those are one of the more better comedic bits. Most of the acting is good in this movie. Nothing amazing, but it all pretty much works for the characters
no, it
they were
all
trying
works
to do.
pretty good for the story.
And
so.
They even they somewhat make that even the most awkward parts the Waffle House bits somewhat work. I feel like they tried their best. I do think the writing is more of the detriment there. I like the other detail where the vice principal slaps on a pride pin after Simon had to when Martin revealed that Simon was gay the previous day, how he's instantly trying to be supportive. It was very much fits his character with how he acts.
Because he's a bit awkward. He just doesn't know. He doesn't get all cues, but at least it shows that he is.
Yeah.
I don't like that. It's a sweet thing,
Yeah, I feel like he's also a little too personal with Simon and a couple other people. Obviously I feel I don't know. I just don't think any VP would be like that. I don't know what your experiences has been with our VPs and principal over the years, because I don't think I've literally talked to any of them ever.
I mean, I think I've talked to them once. I don't know, but it's always I don't know. I would never consider any close friends or who I'm on friendly terms with, right? Because
or even
that's
a friendly
that's the brass,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't trust them.
The only person who I really see most of the time is Mr. Schust, So.
Yeah.
Yeah, big Schuster,
Schuster.
I don't know, but I would never consider him close with. So, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to be a little bit close with your teacher or principal.
It is,
so
a bit. There's a couple plot points are based on the fact that there's no he doesn't have a signal, a couple moments.
Yeah.
So and one of them's it's does the school not have Wi-Fi? Hello, this is Atlanta in 2017 at least. Do they not have Wi-Fi at their public schools? Hello.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you never know with American schools, man. They're pretty.
It's Atlanta, though. It's a city. It's clearly a sub. It's clearly okay, Simon. Just look at the size of Simon and everyone else's house, and you're they gotta be. There's no way that they're the school they go to doesn't have Wi-Fi. It feels like.
Yeah.
It's a little just small things like that. What I noticed and. The finale, I think we'll wrap this up and talk about what do you think of the climax or the ending of this film, the last event?
Oh, when they're on the Ferris wheel?
Yeah, the Ferris wheel bit.
I don't know, but I thought that was really sweet, to be honest. I don't know. I kind of liked it. Obviously, I saw that. I knew that.
Yeah, of course.
Come up eventually, it still was. It was a very satisfying ending. Mm-hmm. I quite liked it a lot, and it was nice to see them.
It's a nice ending. It's a cheesy ending. I do feel the finale's forced a good amount because Simon, it almost feels like Simon gave Brams an ultimatum a little bit. It's it didn't feel like Rams was completely ready to come out. Simon already had to because of Martin, but then like
Yeah.
he waited to this Ferris wheel and all these and everyone's watching. It's like I couldn't imagine that ever. I know it's obviously a movie, but I just could not imagine anything like that ever happening. It also just feels a little creepy. That's like, oh, this like it feels like I don't know. It feels like wokeness going into creepy territory. It's like they all want to see them kiss, and they're all just like, I get it. Like they enjoyed that their friend, or like not all of them are even friends with him. That they want to see like their like.
Well,
Makes
I guess
sense for like
they
the
probably feel bad
friends,
for Ryan
but like
because
for all the other people from the school, it
yeah.
doesn't make as much sense. I think if it was just like
Yeah,
a few
no,
like their
yeah.
friends, it would make more sense. It was just Simon's friends. It would make
I
sense.
guess maybe they wanted to see just a happy ending or something. I don't know. I
Yeah, but
mean,
that
you
like
know.
feels like what the it feels like they're more like the audience than characters or like
Well,
in this
then, yeah,
world.
there's nothing wrong with that. I think we've definitely seen like people in movies or extras just kind of been used as a way for the audience to like jump in a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I
I
didn't
do
mind it
think
that much. I did. I obviously, I will admit, it was slightly, it was a little bit
yeah,
weird.
you gotta
Because that's
like
kind of like
he's
a middle
like
school thing to
it's
do.
like and
Like
yeah,
they'll
and
just be
also
like kiss,
like
kiss, kiss.
yeah,
Like
and
come on.
like having like and again, I think do you somewhat agree that was a little bit of a forceful like trying to get Brams to come out in that situation kind of thing because like Simon, it felt like Simon was so desperate that he was like, okay,
I
I'm gonna try
mean,
to
a little
pull
bit, yeah.
a little bit of
I
a
will
public
admit that
stunt in order to
it
try to get him to come
wasn't the
out.
best thing, but I mean, at the end of the day, Brahms did make the choice, so it was mostly on his own terms, which
True,
I
but
guess
of
maybe I
course,
would have
it didn't
wanted.
feel like it was his choice. It felt like it was
Yeah,
just a writing thing. Again, it did like
yeah,
there are points like that feel like they're more writers' choices than characters' choices, in my
yeah.
opinion. But what I do like is that they have a blue light next to the Ferris wheel for him,
That
and
was
he's
cool.
blue, so that's
Yeah,
good. I like that
that was a
detail.
nice choice. I did quite like that as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think we'll move on, but
So
I will
score?
give Love Simon 6 out of 10. Yeah, I think 6 out of 10. Maybe a little closer to
Fair enough.
7 than a 5, but not by a ton.
Okay. I'd probably give it a 6.5. I think it's definitely a solid movie. It's not obviously it's one of my favorites. It's not something like I think is Oscar worthy, obviously, but I
Yeah,
quite enjoy.
for
Definitely
sure.
fun to
And I
watch.
definitely like,
Yeah.
especially when I watched the first time, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed picking it apart a little bit, and I think I'll just enjoy it as a little nice little teen film. Let's move on to
Yeah,
Heat.
definitely better than a lot of the teen movies out there
True,
these days, anyway. So
definitely better than like Kissing Booth. I do
yeah,
think To All the Boys, at least certain, like, I think the first and the third one are pretty close to this one, even though I think this one's maybe better produced overall.
yeah,
Um, but I don't know. Those other two movies feel a little more realistic in some aspects. But anyways,
fair enough, fair enough.
let's move on to Heat, a 1995 film by
Ooh,
Michael Mann, starring Al
yes,
Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore, Diana
Tom
Bruno,
Sizemore. Oh yeah,
Natalie Portman is also in this movie, Tom Noonan.
Ashley Judd.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it's
So,
oh my god,
as I mentioned
I
before, I don't know why
yeah,
I recommended this necessarily completely. I
yeah,
just like, oh, it's sort of a movie I was gonna watch maybe.
yeah.
And
And like I told you, honestly, whatever reason, oh my god, dude, it was definitely a good choice. I mean, like obviously there's a lot. I know you have some issues with it
I
too, but
definitely
I mean,
have
like
some
as far
issues
as
with it.
on a technical level, the film is executed near perfection. I think. I
I
mean,
that's
aside from editing, I'm talking about like the execution of, like
the
especially the
set
shootout scenes and the action
pieces. Yeah, the
sequences.
set pieces are well
Yeah,
done for sure. Like the shooting and the set
yeah.
pieces.
And
I
the
do have
cinematography was pretty good for
it
1995
was
as well.
solid.
Like some shots,
I
something you would see
Some of the shots
in like a
look
movie today.
kind of bad
Yeah.
though. I do think some of the shots
I
have
mean,
clearly kind of aged. It's clear they like
yeah.
use some effects and
But they
stuff that
started
was
like,
clearly looked
yeah.
like kind of bad. It's just like
Okay, actually, that scene, that scene where like Robert De Niro and the lady he met at the coffee shop are like on his balcony. That looks
yeah,
like
that's
Instagram a little
exactly
bit there,
like parts like
which
that.
is
They
weird
look
because
pretty
when you go to
bad.
another angle, you see that they're actually there. So why even shoot them on a green screen? It doesn't make
See,
sense.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't know why they couldn't get locations for this film. Like I feel like I don't. If it was a budget issue, I feel like they could have potentially cut out a couple other like. This movie feels like it could easily just be like a TV series in so many ways. Like this easily could
Mm,
have been like a mini series. Um, Obviously pretty produced, but like it could have easily been. Um,
yeah.
the runtime and the like I think I like this first half of the movie especially had me pretty bored. I wasn't too interested in these characters, to be honest. Like, I think they're definitely different, and they're like a more unique character than I've seen before. But I didn't find them that entertaining or deep, really. Like, I didn't feel like like, for a 3-hour movie, I feel like they're like almost just as fleshed out as they need to be for a 3-hour movie. Otherwise, this movie would be completely god awful if it was like for the characters at least. For like a 3-hour movie, it's like, I think the most impressive part of this movie, from like a writing standpoint, is probably how many characters they are and how they're able to weave this whole world together pretty well.
Yeah.
And
no, it's
like,
a very much.
works.
It's almost like a story about a city. I kind of. It's not just about the characters. It's more about crime in general in Los Angeles, and but
it doesn't.
It's
I mean, I guess a little bit.
I kind of get that vibe. Obviously, it's not the main focus. I
get that a little bit when like
of,
you get the idea that like in the sense that you could see Robert is representing all of like LA's criminals, and like Al Pacino is all like the LAPD trying to take them down,
and that's actually what's it called? Christopher Nolan. This movie was a big influence on Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, actually. So I mean that's
thank God he made it better than them.
No, I mean,
because I think a lot of the choices are kind of bad. Like the visual effects choices, some of the shot choices I think look bad. I think some of the lighting choices are just kind of boring, or like they're not standout. Again, the editing, like you said, I think the editing sometimes a bit weak, even though they had 4 editors on this fucking movie. 4 editors. Really? That's more than 6 Underground. Like, they had 3 on that movie. And like,
damn.
Obviously, this is better covered than a Michael Bay film, has better writing, but honestly, it kind of felt like the more well done version of 6 Underground in a lot of ways. Or like, it also felt like, so it was longer and it had more interesting characters. It had somewhat similar set pieces, I'd say. It's like big set pieces. They're obviously better directed, but I don't think they're even that much better directed. Like, there's clearly not, there's like, the style seems similar in a good amount of ways, but it's obviously better done overall.
Fair enough.
It's like, I don't know, it's like the characters just have they have very basic goals. Like, Al is just to catch Neil. Neil's to like, well, at first it seems like he's trying to get away, but it's like he just needs to avenge his like people. So it's more like he has a code of honor just to protect, like, to have him and his friends benefit while making sure anyone who touches them dies, which is what he kind of does at the end. And again, for 3-hour movies,
it's interesting. Yeah, I also like the whole idea where he has this like phrase where he's like, if you like latch onto something that you can't leave within 30 seconds if the heat's around the corner, then you shouldn't do it, right? And then obviously that comes up when he actually really likes the girl, and then obviously like Al Pacino,
he just does it. Feels like
he just does, which was surprising because I don't know, I didn't know
the heat. Like, the idea of the heat of him like being tracked down, it felt like they didn't give a fuck most of the time. It felt like they didn't give a fuck that they were about to get captured by the police. They were going to do this anyways. Like, when they knew the police were watching them, they just left. I mean, it's like they knew, I guess they knew for sure that they wanted to get them on larger charges than just breaking and entering.
But still, I don't know, but it's kind of like the one thing I didn't like is that the police actually waited so long until like things got bad, because I don't know if like that's kind of obviously I'm not expecting the film to be realistic, but it's kind of just asimile behavior because dude, like it led to that awesome shootout, which was cool and everything, but like so many people died that like would it have been like worth it just to get them a little bit earlier?
Really? Like,
a lot of people got shot, man. Like civilians. I
only remember like 2 police officers getting shot. Honestly, they never really show that many civilians getting shot.
I saw like a few civilians getting shot. I saw like a bunch of police officers getting shot as well.
Really, I only remember.
Like, but then like Tom Sizemore took that girl at gunpoint, right? So I mean,
but then also Al Pacino shot him in the head. So it's all good.
Yeah, I know, but they were also shooting in like a fucking crowded like parking lot full of people doing their like shopping.
Okay, one of them got hit. I remember that now.
Yeah, I know. I remember a few civilians getting shot there, but I don't know. I mean, as far as that scene goes, I thought that was really well. I like that there was no music. It was just the sound of the guns.
It was just the gun sounds.
A thing that Michael Mann like has done in some of his.
That was a good choice, I'd say.
Yeah,
for
because it
sure.
makes the guns like seem it's not just like something cool. It's like showing how dangerous they can be, and he does this with his other film Collateral. It's just kind of because like
Yeah,
they just like make the gun sounds. I guess sound them a little more realistic. Make them sound
it
louder, and just
allows
really
the guns
amplify.
to kind of dominate the pretty
Yeah,
much
kind of
everything.
carry a
It's
little bit
like the
more weight. You
sound is
know?
like larger than
Yeah,
the visuals at that point. It's just like it helps the sheer chaos of the situation be
yeah,
very clear. And I think that's a pretty good scene. After like in a lot of
yeah.
that, like I think the action scenes are well done, like the truck and all that stuff. Just the
Also, the scene at
conversations
the
though,
airport where he's trying to. Yeah.
yeah, like this
What about the
airport
scene at the
scene's well
airport though? Like,
done. I think
yeah,
the like the robbery scene and the gunfight slash chase is easily the best. Because
yeah,
after that, it woke me up a little bit. Because I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't falling asleep, but I was definitely getting a little tired of the movie at that point. Definitely,
yeah.
yeah. Like, I don't like a lot of. I feel like Michael Mann feels like he's trying to write something deep, and there is a couple of good ideas thrown around, but most of it and like the characters are a little boring in my opinion overall, a little bit.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
do.
I did think that obviously Al Pacino's character, like Vincent Hanna, and like those are obviously the two. And I think they don't share enough screen time together, but when they do, especially in that diner, I think that was probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie, where they're
I
just
just
talking to each
like
other about
that's another
like
moment
life
where
and everything.
Robert and like even Al feels like neither of them really give a fuck about catching each other until like the very end, feels like. And it's like it's a somewhat cool moment. It's like showing that even though they're obviously on opposite sides, they respect what each other does and like the effort. Because
Yeah,
clearly Al sees them as very competent criminals, and then Robert sees Al as a very competent police officer. Even though I feel like in a good amount of aspects, both of them are kind of weak in some parts. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. Just trying to remember. Yeah, like the writing of some of the conversations, like the idea of like I feels like it's a little bit of indictment of somewhat of the like the police force and like or sometimes of like the prison system because one of like especially with that one character like the guy who ends up working at the diner who then at the end
Yeah, no,
douches.
that was interesting actually, because I mean, like, I don't know if it was used that well, because I thought he was gonna
I
stick around the way that they were giving them like all that screen time, right? But then he just gets killed in the shootout, which was
See,
kind of
I
disappointing
no,
because I
I
thought
think it's
they
more
could have cut that
effective that
character
he
out a
just
little.
dies in the shootout because it shows how often when convicts get out of prison, they're put into these work
They got nothing,
situations that where they have really no options. They have to like obviously
and then
it's
that
clear
makes
by
them
how
want to
the
go back to
owner's
crime.
talking that like he's just gonna work him to death because it's not like if he like complains at all, he can just go to the parole officer and be like, yeah, this guy isn't cooperating, so then he will go back to jail. It shows how often convicts really have no choice sometimes but to end up going
Yeah,
into crime again, and sometimes, especially in dangerous crime escapades, they just die and no one really remembers them, right? It just happened. They
yeah.
just die. It's like the fact that they didn't give any importance to that just shows kind of how sad it is, right? That's why I think it's
I guess that's
maybe
a
one of
good
the more
point.
well done parts in the film, right?
Yeah. Also,
I
that's the Allstate guy who got killed in the car.
nah,
You know the Allstate guy?
I don't know the
He's like,
Allstate guy.
in Allstate, you're in good hands. You've never seen those ads?
I don't think so. Or if
Are
I
you kidding
have,
me? Oh my
I don't
God.
remember them. I guess.
Ah, okay, well, he was also the president. Beside the point. Anyways,
All right.
I looked him up in the cast later, and it's kind of,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I
I guess he wasn't in good hands.
yeah, I would maybe be
Sorry.
willing to watch this again, but I
Yeah,
think just Michael Mann as a
yeah.
director is a guy I'm probably not going to enjoy that much. Like his other movies
I
are
mean,
much like are
have you seen
weaker.
Collateral?
No. Do you think I should see it?
That's I think that's my favorite Michael Mann film, to be honest. I think it's pretty well done. It's got Jamie Foxx, Tom Cruise. I mean, like, I think it's pretty cool. I quite like it.
It is
You might like it too.
his
I don't know.
fifth highest rated movie, by the way, just mentioning.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
Tom Cruise. Cab Driver Max
Yeah, and
picks
Tom
up a
Cruise
man
is
who
like
lost his
he's the
innocence.
villain in that film, which I honestly like you don't see him do too much. He's more like the hero or like just an anti-hero, but
Yeah,
this
there's
film
just
he's
a
like
lot of
straight up
things
bad guy. He
about
did a good job in it
how,
though.
like, I think Michael Mann clearly has a unique vision. I just don't. I think it's a little bit of a me problem. I just don't like, and somewhat I think it is, like, I think some of his choices are straight up bad, but of course that's subjective. I just think the way
Yeah.
he goes about stuff, in my opinion, I just don't like that much. He's apparently
All
making
right.
a movie I noticed in 2023, for 2023 apparently, about Enzo Ferrari, who is faced with the convergence of her personal dilemmas at a critical time in his battle for supremacy with his rival Maserati. Maserati's a
Maserati.
Maserati. That's a car. That's a car, right?
Yeah, it's in the car company.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both
Um,
Italian supercar companies.
Right. And so Hugh Jackman's apparently going to be playing that role, and it's written
That
by
sounds
him.
cool.
And also might be based on the person who made The Italian Job, I think, who's also helping write it with Michael Mann. Yeah.
Wait, is it the original Italian Job or the?
This like the both of them, I think. Or he's a writing credit. So I feel like he did the original one and then did the remake, right? Was it a remake?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
if
there
there's
was a
book.
remake in 2003. The original one was
So
from.
yeah, so obviously the person
67?
since he wrote the first one, he got a screenplay credit on the as like
Oh,
based
yeah.
on credit, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It feels like clearly Michael Mann isn't a very he did The Last of Mohicans, which was pretty Oscar bait, but most of his movies aren't Oscar bait. Enzo Ferrari sounds like it might be more. Heat obviously didn't get anything. Didn't get any Oscar nominations, by the way.
All right.
Just as a
Okay.
fun fact, which I found a little surprising considering its highest rated movie.
I was
But
surprised by that. Honestly,
I
yeah.
feel like there could have been sound. Well, I think some of the sound mixing's kind of bad, but sound editing for sure. Like I think
for
sometimes
sure.
the way, I think sometimes people are too quiet compared to their environments. It just feels like it doesn't really work sometimes. But the gun sounds and a
Yeah.
lot of the other sound effects are good. So sound editing, VFX, maybe. I think the editing's maybe the writing. The writing is also I think pretty solid.
Yeah, I
especially
would
for
give the
movies.
writing. I would give the writing, to be honest. I don't think it would have won, but I think it does nominated. But then again, 1996 was a good year. I thought it was a pretty good year for Oscars. So who would have taken out? That's the one thing.
Original screenplay. The other movies that year, not. So the winner was The Usual Suspects, and honestly, I might put it above. I don't like The Usual Suspects that much. I think it's a pretty overrated film. I'd probably
it's
give it
not
to
bad.
Toy Story, maybe. And that, there was Braveheart, there was a Woody Allen movie, and then there was Nixon starring
that one.
Hopkins.
Yeah, the Woody Allen one has to go. Definitely.
I mean, it might be a good screenplay.
Which movie is it from Woody Allen?
Mighty Aphrodite? I don't know.
Yeah,
Like-
take it out.
I mean, I haven't seen Nixon. It's sure. I mean, it's
Maybe I'm biased. I don't like Woody Allen, but
Yeah, and Woody Allen's a terrible person, but it's he also made some good stuff. I do think
I mean,
The
yeah,
Usual
I just think
Suspects
it's weird
probably
how
shouldn't
we-
have won. It's weird
Yeah.
that Josh Whedon was a writer on Toy Story. So he's the first name.
Joss
mentioned.
Whedon was a writer on Toy Story.
Yeah.
What? No, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. Huh. Well, you learn something new every day. That's what.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
do you have anything else you want to say about the film, or
Not
should
really.
we give it a score?
Yeah, I think we should do a score. What
Okay.
do you think? What do you want to give it?
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it just could have been a little bit shorter, and I think you were saying it earlier, a little bit less. So I think just because of that and the other issues I had, maybe I'd probably give it a 7, to be honest. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
gave it a 7.
yeah,
Pretty long. I might watch it.
yeah. It surprised me honestly, but I don't know.
I mean, you were
think,
talking about how
Pacino
great it
and
was.
De Niro-
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I somewhat changed your mind because I feel like when you came in here.
No.
you were like, "It was great."
I mean, no. I enjoyed it. Don't get me
Yeah.
7 for me, but it's not. I can't give it anything.
Okay.
I did love it. I did really enjoy it. I had a lot of fun with it.
I mean, if you
I just
enjoyed
wish it
it,
could've been-
you should give it an 8. I feel like it's
No, I'm gonna get fine. I'll bump it to a 7.5. How about that? There you go.
All right, sure.
Just because the runtime was very long, but no, nobody changes my mind. I only change my mind.
All right, cool. Good to know.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Anyways, I gave it a 7 as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So, as far as what we're doing next episode, I think we're doing an episode with your friend and sort of mine, Release Acquaintances.
Brady Forrest.
Brady Forrest. We're gonna be doing Luca as our pick because it's available on Disney Plus today. See if it's
Yep.
solid. Apparently it is.
Yep.
I don't think we have a movie from Brady yet. I guess you guys will find out when we have it from him. As far as any movie recommendations from the past few days, do you have any?
I mean, I've only just been watching Loki and fucking Bad Batch, and then trying to finish our presentation for history. So I haven't really watched
Kind of
anything.
true.
To be honest.
I watched True Grit. Um, from
Ooh,
the Coen
original or
Brothers.
remake? Oh,
Coen
that one.
Brothers.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a remake. I'd say it's another adaptation because it was based on the book. I mean, I guess it's somewhat a remake,
Yeah.
but like, I
Yeah.
think it's more.
Yeah, I
Apparently,
remember
it's
the
more.
original film had.
Apparently, the new one's closer to the original novel. It's probably
Okay.
better. I like it. Jeff Bridges is awesome in it. Haley Steinfeld's awesome in it. Matt
Yeah, of
Damon's a little
course.
less awesome in it, but he's still solid. The dialogue and the way the actors perform is really fun. Has those classic Western tropes, and that's kind of fun. It's a good movie. Well shot as well, except for like one shot that feel like the VFX got botched. But Roger Deakins is a baller. He never does bad, you know.
No. Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't
I
even know what
think
film would be his worst though, but honestly, he's just
the
consistent.
worst I've seen from
bangers.
him is The Village. M. Night Shyamalan.
Okay, well, but that's like it's The Village, man. Like, come on, it makes sense. It's just that movie's a mess all around, you know. So,
Yeah, I honestly I don't know
Yeah.
how much of a mess it was because I was bored out of my mind. I'm not gonna lie, I only started to pay attention for when the twist happened. I was like, okay, that's sort of interesting.
yeah.
But anyways,
I mean, I already know the twist, and I haven't seen the movie because it got ruined for me. But it's fine. So even if I watched it, I
didn't
probably
elevate it that much to be honest. It's the fact that they're spoiler alert quickly just because I want to get this out of the way. The Village, the twist is that even though it appears that it's a period piece and they're living in the 1800s, turns out it's just because they're in a little bit of a cult thing and they're just living out in the woods in a village. That's why it's called the Village. It turns out it's modern day. Whoop-a-doop boop. A doop. Also, Adrian
and
Brody's
for some
apparently.
reason it's outside of Philadelphia, like all of them. I don't understand.
Yeah,
I mean, I know
I
he's
mean-
from there, but couldn't he have a little bit more variety with
No,
variations and stuff?
that's actually one of the things I respect about M. Night is that he actually does like all of his films near his hometown. I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, except for Old, I don't think Old's gonna be near Philly. I don't know any that would.
Yeah, the
help you,
Philadelphia. No, they're gonna fly from Philadelphia. They're definitely flying from Philadelphia before they get to.
That would, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Because
Definitely
I mean, like,
happening.
what
I'm
beaches
betting.
is
I'm
there?
gonna bet. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
beaches in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and nobody want to swim in the Delaware River either. That's fucking polluted as hell. So Jesus.
It's like
You know,
trying.
trying
It's
to
like
do
if
that.
someone was like, it's like if they tried to like if I tried to set it like a beach movie in like Toronto. No one wants to swim in Lake Ontario.
Yeah, because that would make sense for like magical water that turns you into something older. You know, like I would buy that from
The Lake Ontario
Delaware
movie
River.
where it turns you into an old person or something. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
or a crazy monster movie where everyone who drinks Lake Ontario's water all of a sudden becomes monsters.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that would happen.
That'd be
Yeah.
very silly, but silly
It would be
movies can
silly
still
as
be
hell, but
fun.
I would totally watch that. yeah.
Anyways, maybe I'll write a silly movie like that one day. Anyways, I think we're good for the podcast. So thank you guys so much for watching. We're gonna do an episode with Brady next, and yeah, see you guys later.
Bye bye.